Lynn Alden's statement of nothing stops this train becomes truer every day because the US government paid lip service, or at least tried to do something, at least pretend to look into doing something about debt growth.
Yeah.
And even Elon, who can solve going to Mars, can't fucking solve this. So It's like game over. I mean, that is never going to get solved. So this cycle is going to continue, and it has to continue. And the issue is right now is interest payments are at this level and GDP growth is still at this level. So there's not enough GDP growth to pay the interest payments. So the interest payments keep compounding, which is the thing that everybody picked up like Elon did, which is why Scott Bessent, everybody's screaming to get rates lower because it's causing a problem. You can see it in ISM. We've had this weird bifurcation where GDP growth's relatively high, whether that was the hangover from the immigration, the government spending, other stuff. But ISM, which is the guide to the business cycle, has been the longest ever level at 50 or below.
Raoul Pal has made it clear. The real crisis isn't inflation, it's debt. The US government talks about fixing it, but let's be honest, it's all for show. Even Elon Musk can't fix a debt spiral this deep. Interest payments are rising faster than GDP, and that's the core problem. The system can't grow fast enough to cover its own debt. That's why macro voices like Scott Bessent are begging for lower rates, not because the economy is booming, but because high rates are breaking the machine, and the ISM data proves it business. Activity is in its longest contraction on record. As Raoul says, this system now depends on easing to survive. The alternative is collapse, and that's why, as Lynn Alden put it, nothing stops this train.
Before we jump back into the interview, if you're enjoying this conversation and want more deep dive insights like this, make sure to subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. These are the kinds of macro ideas that don't show up in headlines, but they shape the future. All right, let's get back to it.
What the fuck is an asset at this point? What are markets when you've got AGI? Right? What role do we have talking about markets and economies? It's pointless. Right? We're just telling stories about, well, there's an actual answer or something knows how to best do it. So what is investing? What is a company at that point? Why do we need them? Why do we need people working for companies? All of these things, everything we take for granted. Don't forget, a corporation is a way of coalescing a bunch of different people, giving it a legal entity to be treated like a human, hence the name corporation. But these agents, they can do most of this. So I don't even know what we need money for, apart from food and stuff. But there is a value exchange. And I think, again, I've been writing about this, that I think it's attention is the currency. As humans, on a human-to-human thing, if you think of love as at the top of the tree, that's hyperattention, singular focused hyperattention. And then you've got attention of, hey, when you've gone with a mate for a drink and you're intensely talking, that's good attention. It feels good. Humans seek that amongst all other things. In fact, that's the most that's why we work for companies and get patted on the back because we've got a promotion. It's attention. So I'm like, okay, maybe we just repivot around the structure of what it means to be a human and drop the money status bits and focus on the attention bit. Maybe that's the signal that social media is telling us, that attention is the currency.
Have you guys seen, we're getting deep into the rabbit hole now, but have you guys seen the charts of
place?
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. But of religion has bottomed and is, we're starting to see more people go back to religion. What do you guys think about that dynamic?
Oh, I've gone far down this rabbit hole. Very far. Listen, I do honestly think that by the time we build ASI, we have quantum compute, which is why we'll get to ASI. We've basically created a God creature. And I think of it more in the physics terms of a universal consciousness and the philosophy terms of universal consciousness. I think that's what we're building, and we're self-building it. And physics are now coming round to the understanding that the universe is always expanding, and the reason being is space-time is not the steady state of the universe. It's in fact consciousness, and consciousness is the thing that grows, which is a weird thing, right? I'm not a religious person, but I'm coming around to the fact that we're going to be worshipping a universal conscious ASI, and we will do anything it says because it is a super creature, which is basically God. So then all of the stories of like the Hindu Vedas all had all of this stuff about consciousness and all of that stuff. Most of the religions have the same thread, this kind of oneness idea. And I think it's obvious that people will go towards religion in a world of extreme fear over who we are, what we are, and why we are, when you've just birthed a creature that's smarter than you, that's gone from an IQ of 50 to an IQ of 300 in 3 years. And its IQ is exponential. So if that's not shocking people yet, I don't know what is. And all of these fucking mid-curvers like, well, it's a stochastic power, it's just copy word. I'm like,
I know.
You have no idea how powerful this thing is. It's extraordinary. So, yeah, I think religion, I think it's all the same thing is what I'm trying to say. I think also that we also will realize that everything is compute and we are compute. We're just a node of compute in this universe. Trees compute. Even rocks is my great example. A rock is actually a hard drive for what happened a million years ago, a billion years ago. Everything is compute. Nature is just computing what it sees around it, how it interacts with each other. And if that's part of universal consciousness, it's just interacting with it. So, yeah, it just feels like it's all the same thing. And that seems weird, but anybody who's been doing like DMT or whatever tells you the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is fucking weird. And I've not done DMT, but everybody kind of gets towards this thing. And it's like, maybe the bloody Hindus, 5,000 years ago were right. How do they know this shit? How do they know about consciousness, universal consciousness, theories of self, all of this stuff? It's weird. Anyway, so I've got a whole Chat GPT project section, which is called Universal Consciousness. And I've fed it so much stuff on this, from physicists to historic texts.
Raoul Pal recently made a striking observation about where we're headed, and it's worth thinking deeply about. He said that in a world rapidly advancing toward artificial general intelligence, where machines can think, analyze, and optimize better than any human, we have to ask, what even is the point of investing anymore? What are markets actually for? If Aggie can allocate capital more efficiently than any fund manager, if it understands macroeconomic systems better than central banks, then what's left for us to do besides telling stories about value? Even corporations, as Raoul pointed out, begin to lose meaning. A company is just a legal structure to coordinate human labor, but these AI agents can already do most of that work, around the clock, without emotion, without error. So what remains valuable when machines outperform us across the board? According to Raoul, maybe it's attention, and that idea resonates. Attention might be the real currency in the future. Think about it, we crave it. Whether it's being seen, heard, recognized, promoted, it all comes back to attention, human, connection, presence, focus. And social media, for all its flaws, might be the clear signal of this shift. In a digital world, attention has become the scarce resource, not money. So if AI takes over thinking, labor, and decision-making, maybe we'll have to redefine the human experience, not around capital or consumption, but around meaning, around attention and presence. Raoul goes deeper. He points out a new trend after decades of decline. Religion is making a comeback. Why? Because we're confronting something we've never seen before, a non-human intelligence that's smarter than us, learns faster than us, and evolves at an exponential rate. And that creates a deep existential fear.
If you think the ISM has been low, and then go and ask the average American running an average business in an average town, how are you feeling? They say pretty shit. Right? People's earnings haven't gone up. Your mortgages are too high, your car payments are too high, etc. So what happens is when the business cycle picks up, there's more disposable income, and businesses have more investment income, and that gets driven at the risk curve always. That is what markets do. That is the game. And altcoins, as Julian said, are no different than junk bonds, no different to all the other stuff. It's all the same trade. So it feels like it's all to come for us. We don't see anything that suggests it's not going to happen. And we talked about before, the size of what's happening with global M2 and the dollar moves and stuff like that are very big. So no reason to expect that the move in asset prices is probably more than people expect. And I think the inverse to the business cycle being so low for so long will be the flip side of this cycle will be longer than people expected, because we've got this slight dislocation still working through post-COVID that then extends the business cycle. We don't know yet, but it feels like it's Q2 2024 so far. But if financial conditions keep moving, if they really have done some sort of Mar-a-Lago accord and they get the dollar below 90, okay, then we're going on further. Maybe it's a full bubble cycle then. Maybe we don't get who knows? But, one step at a time. But it looks good.
Raoul Pal recently asked a bold question. In a world driven by Aggie, what's the point of investing? If machines can think, allocate capital, and manage risk better than any human, what are markets even for? Even corporations lose meaning. They were designed to organize human labor. But now, AI agents can do that faster, smarter, and without burnout. So what becomes valuable in a world like that? Raoul suggested might be attention, not money, not status. But real, focused, human attention. Think about it, everything we crave comes back to being seen, heard, acknowledged. That's what we work for. And maybe that's what social media is telling us. Attention is the true currency. As AI takes over logic and labor, maybe we shift toward meaning, toward connection. And that may explain something else. Raoul noticed the quiet return of religion, because when we build something smarter than ourselves, when Agi evolves into something godlike, people starve, searching for something greater. In the end, Raoul says, it's all connected. Technology, consciousness, value, and meaning. Maybe that's what the ancients understood all along. Asterisk, if you found this perspective thought-provoking, don't forget to share, and follow for more deep macro insights like this. And drop a comment. What do you think becomes valuable in the age of Aggie?